quarter, critical moment right now. Let's go ahead and get the socials in order. Pacers have gone down 9 points. Critical moment. Yep. Yes, indeed. Finals, Game 7. You know what it is. SandCity Sports. That's right. Facebook, good. All right. IG, yes, sir. Goodness gracious. The Twitch on point. And make sure that the YouTube is correct. We're good to go across the board, folks. Welcome, welcome. We're watching the finals. Critical moment. Obviously, the game swung with the Tyrese Haliburton injury. Nonetheless, Indiana hanging in there, not giving up, but O.K.C come out second half, third quarter. They've thrown some power punches. You know what we have to do, though, before we get back into the game. Let's sound off. Oh, make sure the volume is correct. We're doing the technical things. We're doing the technical things. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome in, folks. Oh. Go. Yesterday's SandCity Sports. NBA Finals. And as we like to say, turn your business. Let's see if Indiana can respond to these power punches that Oklahoma City has thrown. Coming out in the third quarter. Long way to go. Run that back. Run it back, folks. So again, Haliburton is not there. Time for Spicy P. Pascal. He's got to step up. Down to the bucket. 7-point advantage. Benedict. Mr. Matherin. Pride of Arizona. Wildcat. Come out here and carry on and get some buckets. We shall see. Game has been helter-skelter, but O.K.C is coming out in this third quarter and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Putting the ball in the basket, putting pressure on Indiana, and really forcing it to the issue. Look, I'm saying Indiana, continuity offense, everybody gets a touch, so on and forth, especially on the road. Another turnover. O.K.C is outrunning. Have some time. 9-point advantage. All right, so Indiana, you got to stay close right now, and I need Spicy P. I need Spicy P to do what he does. Okay, and you know, Miles Turner, right. We need the veterans. Okay, and then Benedict Matherin. All right, let's give him an opportunity. McConnell, another bucket. So T.J. McConnell's come in here. Rick Carlisle has the opportunity. You know, he wants to go 7-8 deep. SGA mystery. You're watching it. I'm watching it. Okay, Indiana has right there down 7, withstanding the run. And for my money, another bucket, make it a 5-point lead. So, hey, This one's going the distance. But after a first half that was physical, a lot of fouls, okay, going to the line, clearly everyone making the adjustment with Hallie going down. Okay, Indiana obviously thunderstruck. O.K.C, right? That much more pressure. You're the favorite as it is, but then your opponent loses their best player who came out cooking. All right, and so both teams just stumbled through the first half as far as I'm concerned. You can say Oklahoma City missed an opportunity to not go ahead and build up a considerable lead. But in a game 7, everyone's going through the wall 110%. There's going to be miscues. It's, as they say, it is what it is. As I say, as I look around, you do this, you do that, you do the third, but then you miss one thing and you're pre. So let's go ahead and get our lighting. Get the lighting straightened out. And hey, going to be with you. Game 7, we'll see how this concludes. You and I know, power moves. A notable power move took place in the NBA today. The balance of authority and supremacy in the Western Conference shifting. Kevin Durant taking his talents to H-Town. Phoenix got a good deal, bringing in Jalen Green. Now they have an abundance of shooting guards that they have to manage. Already talked about Jalen Green going to another destination. Again, for my money, I'm watching Devin Booker. Okay, and or what can they get back for Jalen Green? But then how does Booker and who? Right. So technically, Suns have a line out the door when it comes to their scoring, shooting guards with Booker, with Green, with Bradley Beal. But I think Devin Booker. Looking at this situation, I've been there and done that. Okay, and theoretically, like, who are you bringing in for Jalen Green that's going to create enthusiasm, excitement, and at the end of the day, a chance for Phoenix to contend. These Pacers, 4-point game. Right, so they took those power punches, and now right there in it. Okay, lighting is. Big 3, Kassan Wallace. Second-year player out there in a Game 7 situation. Turnover. We done talked about this. I like the no call on the contest. Got guys flying around. Okay, so you're watching it. I'm watching it. Live and in full effect. Let's go across the board and see how people are doing. Appreciate tuning in on the Facebook. Couple people on the Twitter. Appreciate you. Most definitely. Let me know what you think. Me casa, su casa. But as I've said, Indiana, we can do this continuity stuff, but TJ McConnell's not going to get it done in crunch time, period, end story. Okay? I've said Benedict, but this is a lot. Benedict Mathurin being thrown into a primary scoring situation in a game 7, when he's been a reserve, switched his role, can't do it. I need a heavy dose of Spicy P. That's what I need from Indiana. Okay. Offensive rebounds. So guys are, we got O.K.C. done pushed it back up to 9. Indiana can't even get the ball in bounds. Another turnover. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Ifs and buts are candy and nuts. We don't have a Merry Christmas. So the Haliburton thing, if I'm Indiana, it's in the past. No excuses. You got an opportunity to win this game. I don't want to hear. You don't want to get in a situation where you're already factoring it. Well, we didn't have Haliburton, so what can you expect? All right, let this thing get out of control and end up getting 20 piece. Right, because now down double digits. You got McConnell out there out of his role. Okay, Rick Carlisle calls that timeout. Good timeout. Let's settle things down. Okay. Right? Because to go win one for the Gipper type stuff, just go out there and compete. Work. No. That's not adding anything to the mix. Right? When you're, what do they say? A calm sea never made for a skilled sailor. Calm sea never made for a skilled sailor. Okay? You earn those stripes when you're dealing with those squalls, with those waves of water. Okay, that's when you earn, let yourself let it be known that I'm bona fide. What does that have to do with Indiana Pacers? Rick Carlisle, okay, Spicy P, Miles Turner. If Indy's gonna go down, let it be with the guys that you have, rather than this ain't no time for no lessons, right? Hoop Dreams, remember? Older brother Curtis, ain't no time to be teaching people no lessons when you're in a tournament, when you're in elimination, when you're in a game 7 situation. Now's the time. Okay, we gotta go with what we got. We gotta go down swinging. And you can throw Obi Toppin in there as well. Let Obi get some touches. We'll see coming out of the timeout. Right, Miles Turner, I like it. Back to McConnell. Go ahead and run it, TJ. Get the ball moving. Yo, TJ McConnell's out here getting buckets. I don't know if he's hearing some of the shade that myself, the Cape Cod kid, but McConnell is getting some big time buckets. 9-point game to keep them. All right, but Oklahoma City's continuing to score. All right, with this double-digit lead. All right, I'm steady. I need Spicy. I want to see Spicy P. Right now, it's TJ McConnell against the world. And so it goes. But beautiful thing. Game 7. Teams out here duking it out. Major injury. Just in terms of not having Haliburton for this game. Never mind, the early reports, or it's Achilles related. So, that, so not coming back tonight. Okay. But hoping for the best in terms of, it not being a ruptured Achilles. Which means, the better part of the season, you're going to have to be out. Indy misses. O.K.C. coming back. Jalen Williams elevating. No good. Come on now. Benedict with the ball. Downhill. Back to McConnell. Let's get some things moving and grooving here. McConnell, good take. Missing. A little bit of TJ McConnell against the world. O.K.C. calling timeout, up 11. Trying to scheme something up. Get another bucket. Push this further into double digits. Right? Because, again, for Indiana, you might want to learn a lesson or three from what you did to my New York Knicks. Okay? And that's why I'm standing firm on I want my stars. Right? TJ McConnell's been out there getting buckets, but he's getting too many opportunities to get some buckets. Like, where's spicy, and more spicy? I'm seeing TJ McConnell in a lot of these 1-4 sets. Okay, but you're down 13 points. You're down 14. TJ McConnell ain't bringing you back from plus. And I said what I said. All right, it's encouraging how he's rallying the troops and stepping up. Right, and he has to, he's not now splitting time with Haliburton as an energy guy, and Haliburton come in, and seal the deal. They've been the 1-2 punch. Right, and again, excuses, they're in the rear view. We're not trying to, I'm not trying to hear about, well, we had, no. You got a chance to win a game is what you do. Okay, O.K.C's come out in this third quarter, and they've found their stride. They're going to make you earn this. They didn't allow you to stay right there in striking distance. They pushed this to 11. Indiana not known for their defense, known for running and gunning. Right, so that's another thing. Okay, you want to run up and down, and you score, I score, but if you're down 15, you ain't coming back. If you just keep trading buckets. Big possession. SGA to his spot. Tip in Hartstein. That's big. Now we're talking about a 13-point lead. Not really a time for 2-for-1. Indiana needs to get the best in every single possession. I'm seeing 1-4 with Neymar, with Nembhard. Ridiculous. Turnover is just waiting to happen. Now you get it to Spicy P, late clock. He only has 5 seconds. He's out in the three-point line. Good defense. We're going the other way. Rick Carlisle wants a foul. Heck no, it's not a foul. That's exactly what and who am I? I'm just a guy from, that's exactly what I'm saying right there. In terms of ridiculousness. No, Rick Carlisle, head back to your bench. Crying about a foul when you give the ball to Spicy P with 5 seconds. Caruso's right there. Lockdown. Stays in his verticality. No. You can do a triple somersault backflip after that play. Okay? Any official. A freshman official that wants to be good is not giving you that call. Okay? I don't care how far you tumble. What the heck are you doing giving the ball to Spicy P with only 5 seconds left on the clock? And Nembhard out there just dribbling, pounding the rock like he's Jalen Brunson. All the nonsense people want to talk about the New York Knicks offense, except you forget to mention that it worked. And formerly my New York Knicks got a dynastic team in Boston up out of there with their 1-4 sets. Because Jalen Brunson could run it's an RPO. It's a run. That's what you're doing. It's like, oh, he's pounding the ball. No. He's not a ball dominant. It's different if you have high usage, but you're not a volume shooter. Because as soon as, the help came or he cracked the paint, he's looking for Bridges. He's looking for OG. He's looking for Jalen Brunson is a skilled obviously I feel some type of way about my Knicks. But in that 1-4 set, he can make that team pick their poison, very adroit at cracking the paint, starting the blender, and making a correct move. That's not what Nembhard is used to. That's not what TJ McConnell is used to. So Indiana, stop this ridiculousness and just give the ball to Spicy P. If you essentially just try to run your offense as if Tyrese Haliburton was out there with the TJ McConnell, you're about to get to 25, 30. You're about to get embarrassed. And I don't want to hear anything about a Tyrese Haliburton. Well, no. Strategically is the reason you got embarrassed. Because, again, we're talking about a 4-5, whatever it was at halftime, 6-point game. Then you brought it all the way back, Indiana, to 4 once Indy made the first move. Now then they pushed it back to 13. All right, and now and that's just, like, everybody is frantic. Again, you're in the arena. I give them credit, but this is also a time where we talk about the Boston Celtics. When Brad Stevens was on the sidelines, what was he known for? Okay, that's right, out of bounds plays, scheming up, cooking up these out of bounds plays to win possessions in critical moments under 2 minutes to give his team right, that extra cushion to go ahead and get the W's. So Rick Carlisle, as much as I'm sympathetic, games, but Rick, you about this. You've been doing this. So I said Rick Carlisle's an elite coach. He's an NBA champion coach. This is when we need to see Cool Hand Luke. Okay, that's right. Now, everybody's going to be frantic to a certain extent, but get Indiana into some sets to scheme up some high percentage looks, and then it's on you guys to knock those down. Okay? Rather than this, what, you know what I mean? But what I saw, what I've seen in the third quarter is not making me happy. And, it's just same old, same old. We're just going to, plug in, we can just plug and play. No, you can't. Okay? You got to make the adjustment. So all of those, and you have 14, or, you see, look at an NBA bench, they got like 10 head, not, you have one head coach, but you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 assistant coaches. This is when those guys can go into their Rolodex coming into the fourth quarter. Matherin with it, kicks it over to Obi. Oh my goodness. All right, we're getting out of control right now. Obi, 10 seconds on the clock. He up fakes, and then he's going to chuck it. No rhythm whatsoever. This is our offense. I haven't seen one thing run through Spicy. I haven't seen Spicy P getting a touch. I ain't even seen the man get a touch since we've been live for 20 minutes. Slide over. SGA, ISO, rhythm, bucket. Okay, this is it for Indiana. Down 16, right? It's getting out of hand. Can you give the ball to, right? Naismith, no. Move it. I don't care about Lou Dort face guarding Spicy P. That's not an excuse not to get him the ball. Let's just establish that. No, that's not an excuse. He's able to face guard him and deny it because you're just running what you usually are running. Now Naismith just throws the ball out of bounds. Turnover. Okay. I don't know if it's a media timeout. I don't know if Rick Carlisle's just burning timeouts, which... Give the ball to Siakam. And again, folks out there, you please jump. Oh, it's not that. Yes, it is that easy. Okay? Run a set. You're an NBA organization. You have sets. The end result of which is the ball goes to this player in this spot. Okay? How many teams face guard, double Steph Curry, but yet he still runs off of 18 screens and gets those shots? Okay? Or if a team is loading up so much on one player, what does that mean? If you're going to throw double and triple teams at one of our guys when we run this action, that means somebody else is wide open. And yet I'm seeing TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin and Naismith out there running 1-4 sets like they're De'Aaron Fox or something. I don't want to hear about something that happened with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. when it's a 4-point game in the third quarter in the NBA championship series and a game 7 in the NBA finals. Excuse me. You already have it in your mind what happened in the first quarter. That's why you're acting a fool out right now, Indiana, and about to get embarrassed. And if you do get embarrassed and we do the breakdown, it has nothing to do with what happened with Tyrese Haliburton, because you weathered that and we're still close. Okay, but you're laying an egg in the second half, from what I'm seeing. Okay, you fought. O.K.C came out, fought back to make it a 4-point. Again, they were just down 4. And then this helter-skelter offense that they're out there trying to. And the other thing about it is, never mind the fact that you don't have the personnel to run this offense, O.K.C already knows your offense because this is a game 7. Never mind the fact you don't have the personnel to execute it. Coming out of this break, again, Spicy, Miles, whoever else, Obi Toppin is not a guard. I don't know why he's dribbling the ball out there. You know, then just give the ball to Spicy and let Spicy P run the 1-4 or the high screen. Let him initiate the offense. But Obi Toppin is not a doggone point guard. I don't know why he's dribbling the ball out front to initiate anything. We just saw a clip of Haliburton. No. O.K.C challenges, calls overturned, 16-point advantage. Again, Indiana has to get stops. What is O.K.C doing? They're going right to SGA. Rhythm. Good look. Okay, exactly. What are they doing? They got you on the ropes. They're going right. Okay, Spicy's got it. Thank you. Spicy to the cup. Moves it to Mathurin. Back to him. Benedict waiting it too long. Out to Spicy. I'll live with it. I'll live with Spicy for 3. Okay, he didn't get it. Offensive rebound. Are we staying here? No. I'll live with that possession. Not bad. Your best player got it. Moved it. Got it back. Neesmith, bear hugs, Caruso. Right? I like that in WWE. I like the thought. Fine. Okay. Heavy dose of SGA on McConnell. Back out. Open 3. Okay. Still, you're down 16. You got to start cutting into this at some point. Neesmith, move the ball. Mathurin, fine. They give it to Spicy. Foul. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Right, thank you. They're going in and they get a foul on SGA. Very good. Indiana's starting to play to their strengths. Let's see if they continue to do it. Let's see if they can cut into this lead. McConnell with it. Lou Dort locking him down. He goes away from the screen roll. Good. Another foul. I like it. Right? Spicy was there to set the screen roll. Dort hedged it, but he got it. Too much contact. Got a foul. Good. So let's see if Indy can, stay with this, playing to their strengths. Getting, adding these fouls up. They'll be going to the line in a second. So schematically, okay, better. But now you got the other challenge, now that you're actually doing things that could have an effect rather than 1-4 sets with reserves. Okay, good. Spicy on the corner. Spicy to the cup. Back out. Neesmith fouled. No. Spicy. Okay. Off the glass. Chet Holmgren, good defense. Not a bad set. I got to slide over to look at the television. Should have a better setup. SGA, heavy dose. SGA, Neesmith. 18, 9 minutes. A lot of McConnell. Good stuff, trying. McConnell a little bit too, getting himself in a situation, passing off to a teammate, doesn't have an angle. Chet Holmgren right there, get him up out of there. Now O.K.C, the clock is in their favor, and they're going to They're going to the MVP. Guys are wide open, shooting threes. Okay, all right. I don't know if Indy has another timeout, but you see what I'm saying. Place is going, but you see what I'm saying. So they got to burn another timeout there. What are we talking about here? Okay. All right. Who's manufacturing? Right. We're going to our guy. We're going to make you defend him. He's going to force the help. He's kicking it out. Guys are wide open, disrespectfully open. Okay. And they're knocking down those shots that they should knock down. All right. So, tell me what you think, folks. Good, bad, or indifferent. I always like to hear the feedback. I'm breaking it down how seeing what I see, but if you see it differently, if you think, these takes are elementary or obvious, or, let me know if you care to. Okay, but I'm sticking with what I've been saying in terms of what Indiana did not do in the third quarter, did not do when they were in striking distance. Again, 4-point game. Okay, and they got it all the way to doggone 13. Come back in the fourth quarter, start running some viable sets with the assets they have. Siakam. Okay, he got some good looks. He didn't execute on them. Fine. Then, of course, Indiana not known for their defense has to stop O.K.C. But what is O.K.C. doing? Okay, heavy dose of the MVP. Giving him the ball, finding the matchup that we want. And either he's going to get a high percentage shot, he missed an elbow jumper here, or he's kicking it to an even higher percentage shot. Okay? And that's the three that pushed it to 21. Right? And so it is what it is. Will the Pacers be able to come back from a 21-point deficit without Haliburton in the fourth quarter? Probably not. But in a game 7 or the 5th game of a season, whatever the case may be, it's not that you lose, it's how you lose. Right? Say this a lot for the Utes, the young people. You see these AAU grassroots games, teams beat a team by 40. You gave them 25 of those 40 points. If it's one team that might be better, they're the better team, but this other team is talented. They're a good team, and this team beats you by 40 points. You gave them 25 of that 40. Just bad attitude, bad body language, just poor basketball that you're much more capable. Okay. That was the blowout. So that's where Indy is right now, frankly. All right. It is, we can run. Do we have a 28-3 situation right now? Could this be a Patriots Falcons situation? Okay. But again, that the Patriots did have Tom Brady in that game to come back. But if I'm Indy, right, lose by 25 or lose by 20. Okay, rather than just throwing in the towel right now and letting Oklahoma City just run wild. Some good defense by Chet Holmgren, right? It's tough. It's tough for O.K.C. because, it's tough for Indiana because, they're already they don't have star power on top of star power. An illegal screen, I can't stand that call. What are we doing? That's ridiculous. Come on. An illegal screen, team's down 21. You take away a possession. These are Game 7 NBA Finals refs. They know their business. Did he elbow somebody in the back of the head? Did he rabbit punch somebody? We don't need that call. We don't. Right? And as an official, like, that's insult to injury right there. You know, O.K.C. back to, right? Another offensive rebound. Okay, so again, I didn't like that moving screen in a very important possession when the sky is already. Okay. Didn't like it. Saying I don't like it. While at the same time, I say, you know, these are the best officials, some of the best officials on the planet. You get an NBA Game 7. But as an official, you look at that situation, right? We talk about game management. We talk about balancing the scales. Was that contact in that situation so egregious to take that possession that Indiana needed? They're already down 21. They're trying to keep this respectable. I'm going to take another possession from them. They done given up 2 offensive rebounds on this next possession, right? And you send Chet to the line to get, you know, for the free throw. Okay, so of course that call is not deciding anything, but from a game management situation, right? We could have done without that. Let that play go on. They take a shot, you know, a contested shot. They miss it. Okay, we go. You get the same result. All right. Good bucket, Indiana. 20-point lead. Again, 7 minutes to go. O.K.C's in no hurry. Empty possession from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still. Right? Turnover, fine. You still have an overwhelming lead. But again, O.K.C., whether you have your guys, whether you don't have your guys, we're going to our strengths. All right? And that's, even with Haliburton, again, Indiana would just have a difficult time stopping them. Spicy P going to the line. It's good. A little bit late to the party. Okay, but good. Let's keep this. Spicy P having a tough night. Oh, no, not a tough night. 5 for 12. You're about 50% from the field. So he's, you know, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. All right. Is everybody out there in television land? Good. Appreciate, you know, bro joining on the IG. Very busy. So I appreciate you taking the time. Good. I like it. Spicy P. He misses. I don't care. It's good. It's not good that he, you know, nearly airballed it, but right, that's as good as any he can do. That's as good as it's gonna get. Right? You seen that movie? Jack Nicholson. And Helen Hunt, As Good as It Gets. I think he won Best Actor for that, which I'm not wasn't anywhere near one of his. It's a decent film, but okay, folks. So, you know, let's talk. We're gonna continue to watch this game. But the coronation has essentially begun for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They earned it tonight, right? One of the things that a local grassroots program here on the, I was going to say on the Cape here in New England says, as they say, we play the BABC way. BABC, I think the term legendary is in order. Grassroots program. When you talk about the likes of Patrick Ewing, when you talk about the likes of Kenny Anderson, the BABC has been a force in the basketball community. Again, just, that's the flagship program in New England. The most history and longevity. Now, Expressions Elite is doing some things. If you know who AJ DeBanza is, okay, he's an Expressions Elite player, or Expressions, the other Boston-based team that's notable. The Middlesex Magic are also notable. Not going to leave them out. And Mass Rivals. But coming all the way back, right, AJ DeBanza, all right, and BABC, the list of their players that played in the league, the NBA that is, and we're Hall of Fame level, going back to the Patrick Ewings of the world, just goes on and on and on. And one of the things that they say, I play the BABC way. They've moved from the Nike circuit to the Adidas circuit. So there was an adjustment with that. But now this year they have arguably, they're one of the top grassroots programs in the country. They've been handling business on the Adidas circuit. They've been handling business here in the Commonwealth, when and it only happens every so often when the stinker teams will actually play in the same tournament. Makes a bit of sense because you don't want to play a sneaker team in a local tournament when you're going to have to play them in on the sneaker circuit, because that's when the coaches are going to be there. That's when the games really matter more. Every game matters, but you see what I'm saying. But every so often, Middlesex Magic, who's on the Under Armour circuit, BABC, who's on the Adidas circuit, Rival, who's on the Adidas circuit, and then Expressions, who's on the Nike circuit, they'll all play in one tournament, and you can see the best going against the best. Why am I going into this? Because this weekend, and I usually ref it. I didn't ref it this year. I'll get back, next year for sure. They had the prep school showcase in New England, and it was a beautiful thing. Tom Izzo was in the building. Danny Hurley was in the building. Shaheen Holloway was in the building. We had Matt Painter was in the building. It's a beautiful thing, right? And again, you want to be a part of those, to referee the game, and when you got the college coaches, like it's special. It only comes around once in a blue moon because you only have certain what we call in the grassroots live, called the live period, when the coaches can actually be there. But I'm thrilled that the tournament, that this weekend's tournament was elite, was bar none. But the reason coaches, far and wide came out, took the trip up to Babson, which is a good business school, and won the Division III Natty in 2017. Always mention that as much as possible. Not a flagrant, spicy, good foul, clean foul. Let's play on. But yeah, the coaches was in the building to see some of these BABC players that's been making some noise. Yeah, and that's the way it's been since time immemorial. But also, there was in the building, apparently, there's a 7-4 prospect at one of these area prep schools. That's like that when you see it now, this modern game, you 7-4, but you got to have a 3 ball to go with it. And he seeing some of the footage, he stepped out, hit his jumpers. blocking shots, finishing at the whole 9 yards. So I got to do some research on this young man, but it's a beautiful thing. All right, I play the BABC way. Respect to Indiana, 16 points. 5 minutes to go, still a long ways, but they're gonna keep. All right, Mathering down. Hope he's okay. Indiana gonna keep on. Okay, Lou Dort, good contest there. Lou Dort is vertical. He does a great job with his verticality. So I would challenge that. This is class textbook verticality. Oh, Mathering falls on the elbow. Okay, he gets up. He's okay. Glad he's okay. Lou Dort, again, out of ASU. Bobby Hurley Jr., right? So he's coming in with the fundamentals. That's another important rejoiner, right? When we're talking about, the modern basketball, and you can't tell my kid anything. Yeah, okay. So they're not going to learn anything. They're not going to understand anything, right? You saw that. And that's a 50, that could have gone the other way. You give it to Indy, okay. Glad Mathering fell, and he's all right. But that's textbook, what we call walling up or verticality. That's why he's on the court in Game 7 in the NBA Finals. 14 points, 5 and change. Jalen Williams contested, tough one. Another offensive rebound. Who other than Mr. Lou Dort? Okay. All right, folks. So we're going to continue with this game to the conclusion. SGA, good luck, misses. All right. Indy coming back down. We're gonna keep an eye on it. 5 minutes to go. 14 points. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It is a steep climb. All right, but they got to go ahead and generate some offense. Do it in a quick, Was that Mathering or was that the spicy one? And one. What? Got bowled by Caruso. That's an and one. What are we doing? Got to go back and look at that. You don't miss that in a Game 7. He got bowled on the shooting action. It's got to be an and one. That's two. That's two questionable calls that I've seen. Illegal screen when it was a 20-point lead. And then Benedict just got bowled in the face. So we should be going to the free throw line. Coming out of this TV timeout. So volume is off. But good stuff by Indy. Running it through running it through Spicy. Benedict now creating some space for him, giving him some opportunities. Okay, that's ridiculous. That's an and one play right there. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, you miss a call, fine, but you got hit in the face. Foul on the rebound, Let's take a look at this rebound action foul. All right, so again, you see what Nembhard just did there, right? And the difference, again, from the standpoint of verticality. Okay, so Gilgeous-Alexander, we called in officiating, he alights. Nembhard lets him alight, lets him go into his normal shooting motion. He's what we call an airborne shooter. He jumps up. He doesn't contest vertically, but he jumps towards SGA. Right, and that's why he got the whistle. You have to stay in your verticality. You need to be jumped straight up, straight down. Okay, McConnell out here just wilding. Doesn't have the height to do it. Why are you going 1-4 to the basket? You're not taking off on anybody. You're obviously not taller than Chet. He's 7 foot. He's just waiting for so just no, TJ. That's when keeping it real goes wrong. That's when keeping it real goes wrong, my friend. No. Just no. What do you no? And I don't want to hear about, good defense by Indy. The block, Mather into the basket. Take it to the basket. Good. Back to the free throw line. Nice job. McConnell on the previous play. This is what I was railing against, and I continue. Okay, you're Rudy Rudiger out there, 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, even though TJ McConnell, he's whatever he is, 6, but he's going right into Chet is standing there vertical, cutting off the shooting angle. Then you up fake him. Like, what is he supposed to do? Disappear? What if you up fake 4 or 5 times? Does a person like disappear? Is that like a cheat code in 2K or something like that? Is he supposed to go somewhere? Could you up fake 3 times? He's still standing there with his hand up, verticality, cutting off your shooting angle. And then you shoot it. He's already got his hand up in your shooting lane. Or in, the trajectory of your shot. Kick that out. Okay, the coach's challenge right now. Now, of course, you and I and everybody else saw that Mathurin took 3 steps. But the NBA, they're not, keen to call. From the baseline angle, it looks like SGA just lets him go. So we'll see. From the side angle, it looks like he's moving, he's moving horizontally over a bit. We shall see. Call upheld. I don't. It's 50-50. Team's down 14. It's 50-50. The team is down 14. And again, right? You want like the rule is the rule, the law is the law. Right? There's the spirit, there's the letter of the law, and there's the spirit of the law. Bottom line on that, I don't have a problem with Indy getting the free throws. If it's a 2-point game on that, I look at it. You could because first of all, I'm saying to myself, he did travel. I don't care if you traveled, you took 3, gazelle steps, A, and then B, specifically the baseline, like SGA just stands there, and as he Euro stepped, he's Euro stepping into SGA's space. So the contact was not SGA coming over. The contact was you, as offensive players tend to do, creating the contact to get a foul. So 12-point game. That was 50-50. Some more timeouts. Maybe Indiana heard that we started the coronation here on SandCity Sports because they're hanging around. See if they can make this thing interesting. 12 points, 4 minutes, no Hallie. All right. Do your darndest. Oklahoma City NBA champs. First thing that comes to my mind, shout out to the Seattle Supersonics. Shout out to the Seattle Supersonics. Let's get that for you on the screen. Let's go around, see how everybody's doing. Facebook, okay. IG, appreciate fam checking in. Twitter, a couple people rocking with us. NBA Finals show. Okay. Let's go ahead and get again. This is where I'm going. SGA, steady dose of SGA. He schemes up his shot, misses, rebound. Okay, time is of the essence, but Indy, 12 points. McConnell, get into it. Give the ball up, TJ. Give it up. He waits to give it up. 3 seconds. I don't know what he's doing. TJ's man. TJ didn't get the scouting report, man. TJ found like he got Halley clearances right now. He needs to stop. TJ out here thinking, okay, right? And there's one thing for you to be that energy spark play. You're not an Olympian. You're not an all-star. Give the ball to your players and get the heck off the ball and play where you play. Got a jump ball scenario. Chet against Matherin. This is tough. Okay. You give up another possession. I don't know. I don't know. Just ridiculous, just dumb stuff from McConnell. Okay, it's just dumb. As much regard and respect, and as essential as he's been to this team, energy player, whatever you want to say. All right, you're just giving away possessions. Get the ball back, turn it over again. Okay. They called a foul on Chet on the rebound action. Now that I don't know, man. First of all, I don't know if we needed that whistle because Chet already got the rebound. So I don't know why you need a foul on the rebound action when he already got the rebound. Like again, we talk about start, develop, finish. Like you might have been, but he already got the rebound. So in that scenario, you can hold your whistle, and then if Chet attacks the basket because he already got the rebound with a smaller defender, and that defender still, then you can call the foul, right? But what advantage was gained by the contact if he already got the rebound? Never mind McConnell with his second straight turnover, out here trying to do too much. Thank you. Give it to Spicy. Get it back. Now go into attack mode. Nembhard, tough three, bucket. Throw it ahead to Chet, bucket. Okay, trading buckets. You're seeing it. I'm seeing it. All right. You trade buckets for 2 minutes. You still lose by double digits. So it's exciting. All right. Indiana, they just put themselves, too far and too little, too late is what we say, right? Okay, folks. So, right, what does this mean for me? This is what it means for me. This is what Oklahoma City winning a championship means for me. Okay, we got to go back to the Seattle Supersonics. Okay, not the Dennis Johnson Seattle Supersonics winning an NBA championship in 1979. Not those Seattle Supersonics, but these Seattle Supersonics. Folks, you know the glove. You know Gary Payton. Kendall Gill, out of the shy, was a problem. Kendall Gill was a bucket. He was nice. Okay, a lot of Cooper flag right now. We've talked about Cooper. I believe he's going to be a good NBA player. The Larry Bird talk is out of pocket. I want to see, Cooper. He's skilled. He's smart. Um, he can do a lot of things well. Okay, you know, I'm not blown. I'm not blown away by his athleticism. Right? And I don't think that's, he's athletic. But there's, he's not LeBron athletic. Okay, right? He's not Rudy Gay athletic. Right? He can, but he's not jumping out of the gym, so Cooper's going to be really good. But his game reminds me, a lot of this man here, Detlef Schrempf, who was a dude. Excuse me. 6'8", point forward, shoot it, pass it, score it. Just a problem. Everybody here knows the Rain Man. You know the Rain Man? All right. And then Sam Perkins at center, skilled from Carolina. Michael Kidd, this 95, the Seattle Supersonics, the two championships that Houston got, coming from, 0-2 down to the Suns and down 3-1 to the Suns and storming all the way back to win those series that they shouldn't have won, where the Suns should have won a championship or Charles Barkley should have, would have, could have got a ring, but Houston got them both. They also took a championship. This was the best team. This was the best team in the league when Jordan was on his hiatus. The Seattle Supersonics. Okay, 94, they lost to Denver in 5 games when the first round used to be 5 games. Denver Nuggets. We're talking about Dikembe Mutombo, talking about Robert Pack, and some other guys whose name escapes me. They just got them in the nip and tuck, and right, that's another thing when you have so much talent, but you get into a nip and tuck game or series, you have to find a way to streamline, and guys accept their roles rather than it's my turn, your turn baloney. So on this team, as I'm looking at it, bottom line, I need screen roll with this man here, Kendall Gill, and this man here, Shawn Kemp. That's my go-to. Kendall for the butt. I need right. Gary Payton could score. He would, but in terms of initiating offense, when going, I need Gary Payton to, and Gary Payton could do a lot of things, or you could just run a screen roll, obviously with Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, to skip it over to Kendall, or skip it over to Detlef Schrempf. But sometimes when you have so many, you just try to do this, as I say, continuity thing. Well, Detlef, we're going to give him a chance here, and then, guys just don't get in a rhythm. Then guys start to get frustrated. Then, no. There's no, this Seattle, it's, and, you see, we'll get it for you. No doubt, Chris. Chris is heading to a Wu-Tang concert. Respect that. Appreciate you. What did they say? Born atomically. The Socrates philosophies and hypotheses. They can't describe how I'll be dropping these. Mockeries. They literally perform the armed robbery. They flee with the lottery. Possibly they what? That late 90s Wu. That Shaolin. That Staten Island. Okay, so 55 seconds, 14 points. Celebration is on. Winning it at home. play the game out, no injuries. Gilgeous Alexander just holding it, skipping it, shooting it. Lou Dort wide open. Somebody shoved Chet. Okay. You got to finish the game, no injuries. Oh, all right. But so happy for O.K.C. Sam Presti doing it his way. Right. This team is loaded as is. Right. We're going to talk Kevin Durant because, times are changing. But, Phoenix Suns gave up 5 second-round picks. Yeah, those second-round picks are valuable. Those Manus and Draymonds are valuable. Believe you me. All right, but the fact of the matter is, Oklahoma City with all this talent, and now Sam Presti. See, the thing about Oklahoma City that I love as well, with all this second apron speculation and people talking about the Celtics being, and I'm on that, and I'm not coming off that, and I will go toe to toe with anybody who has anything else to say about the Celtics and not keeping their big four together and the ramifications that's going to have. Okay, because the ramification is going to be championship window closed. Right? Oh, well, that's this, right? You can start it and try to build something else up, but it's going to be a question mark, right? You thought you had a championship when Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, and Hakeem Olajuwon stepped on the court together. You thought that was a championship team, right? We tried to, form these super teams, and it's just gone to the birds. So don't just think you can bring in, this and on paper and 2K, you're nice, but no, it's not working like that in reality. Okay, tears being shed, a lot of guys. Okay, undervalued, underappreciated. I am talking about the Jalen Williams of the world. I am talking about the Lou Dorts of the world. I am talking about the iHearts of the world. SGA didn't come into the league, decidedly heralded, but he came from the Kentucky tradition. Calipari talked about it, $6 billion in NBA contracts. So he, whether he knows how to make an adjustment, in the NCAA tournament versus how he knows how to spot talent and then put talent in a position to be successful, put them in the mindset, give them the tools to be successful at the highest levels. He knows that. Because Tyler Hero, Jamal Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Davis, okay, Derrick Rose, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, and not a lot of guys, all those guys are not top 5 picks either. All right, so this is a beautiful thing, the celebration. Indy fought valiantly. Oklahoma City NBA champion. Okay, but I'm keeping this up here for you. This is what, I feel like the Seattle Supersonics got a championship. Okay, because this team, this group that didn't end up breaking through, unfortunately, they stayed together. And by the time they broke through, who was waiting for them? All right, Michael Jordan. By the time they finally got their mind right, they went up against the 72 and 10 Bulls, and it was a wrap. It was a wrap. You understand? But I'll say it again and again and again and again, man. Oof. You can plan a pretty picnic, but you cannot predict the weather. Seattle did everything right with this squad. George Karl, the right coach. And just 2 years of getting knocked out in the first, you want to talk about a playoff jinx or just, I don't know. And I look at this team, and what I think as well. You have to Because Gary Payton, very strong-willed. Sean Kemp. You have to, when the rubber meets the road, you gotta just be able to keep guys together, have a singular vision, right? We need a 30 for 30 on this Seattle Supersonics team. We do. All right, we're gonna celebrate Oklahoma City. They won a championship. We're gonna talk about, are they dynastic? Are they gonna win multiples? How is the West different? Obviously, KD going to Houston. Who's just, that is such a good deal for Houston. They keep Reed Shepherd. They keep Amen Thompson. They keep Jabari Smith. They keep Sangoon. Like, Houston is just loaded. Reggie in the building. That's awesome. Team walking in the tunnel, Tears being shed, that's right. No shame in it whatsoever. Actually, a good amount of respect, frankly. Because, it's the person that's in the arena. Did I have an issue with McConnell in the second half trying to do too much? Yes, I did. But do I respect him trying to do too much and going down with the ship? Yes, I do. Need a 30 for 30. Maybe I got to be the one. All right, but Oklahoma City NBA champions. Shout out to the Seattle Supersonics. Okay. They're part of this championship. Okay, folks. So, look, O.K.C, they're built to last, right? And then you get to the mountaintop. Now you've been there and you understand it. You have something nobody can take from you. So that lends itself to returning to the mountaintop, as far as I'm concerned. The West, good. My good buddy, Indo. Didn't know he's even watching. Good to hear from him. Buddy Endicott was a fisherman for many years. Rooting for Indy. Happy. Yeah, man. Happy for the Thunder. And right. So they're on the throne, and you're gonna have to come and get it. They're only gonna get better, stronger, so on and forth. But let's be clear on this. From my, Sam Presti, Brad Stevens, you guys are incredibly smart people. You need to now navigate this new reality with the second apron to keep these teams together. Right? And that's what championship teams are. They stay together. Okay? Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Bird, Parrish, McHale, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, Steph, Clay, Draymond. Right? Iggy, what? Right? A championship that it's not, well, we're going to trade, Clay and bring in Tyler Hero and not, no, you're not. You're not doing that. So with O.K.C and Sam Presti and just how he's built this thing from scratch, built it through the draft, still and has so much draft capital, analytics. You see him. Sam Presti would have probably been here in New England at this tournament to see the Stars of tomorrow if he wasn't in the NBA Finals. Okay, this money ball. Really good to hear from my man Endo. Appreciate him checking in. Appreciate him checking in with me. He knows that I'm podcasting. That means a lot to me. Yeah, Sam Presti, from the standpoint that Chet's going to have to take everybody can't get the max if you want to win championship. You can get your max and then, go and lose someplace and be frustrated in someplace, and be on Cancun on a beach someplace. But you're not all getting your maxes now and winning championships with how the NBA has been restructured. So you take a page from Patty Mahomes. Okay, or you could take a page from Stephon Marbury, whichever you want to do. Let's get Marbury and KG for the people on the screen so we can understand where we're at right now. Because let's understand where we are at right now. Okay, let's take a look at where we're at right now in professional basketball. All right, this could have been a dynasty. This could have been a dynasty, right? Right, but Marbury wanted to do what he wanted to do. Okay, never mind the fact that this could have been Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. Two people from South Carolina. That could have been the blueprint. Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, both from South Carolina. Neither one of them had a problem being in the frozen north and in Minnesota because Ray Allen was over in Milwaukee and freezing over there. Okay, and that was what it should have been. You talk about, good fortune being as light as a feather. People in Minnesota, Kevin McHale and others tried to do the right thing. Garnett wanted Marbury, so they went out and got Marbury. This is a time when, Shaquille O'Neal could have played with Chris Webber. No, he wanted Penny Hardaway. That ended up working for a time, and then it didn't work, and then Orlando tried to, was stupid and didn't give Shaq all the money he deserves, but that's also, part of the equation, whereas Jerry West found a way to make it work, but Orlando wants to take a hard line. Well, you're not going to push me around. Okay, there goes the championship window. Okay, right? Yeah, you ain't been back to a final since. Oh, okay, there was the one with Stan Van Gundy. I'll give you credit. But you could have had, you and Shaq and Penny could have been the move rather than Shaq and Kobe. But everyone wants to get in their feelings and I'm not gonna lose money. You lose a little bit of money this year, you get it back in perpetuity when you win your championships. Okay. But the bottom line is, this is this woulda, coulda, shoulda. They were good that first year. They gave Houston a little bit of go, in the playoffs. Then they lost that series, and then it was blown up. You brought in Terrell Brandon, which is not even close to the same thing. You're talking about, Terrell, good play. No, it's not even the same thing. Okay, it should have been Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury. It should have been Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. Right, just like you have now Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. You had Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. You got what Minnesota has now in terms of just championship talent. They had 20, 30 years ago for one season. And then it disappeared in a poof. And then my point that I made about Kevin McHale is I understand you want to do what the player wants you out of, but you got to get some assurance that this is going to be for the future. So as mad as Kevin Garnett would have been for a hot, boy, you didn't trade my boy, but we got you Ray Allen for 10 years. I'm out of here. And never mind the fact that you gave him the deal that's forced the NBA to go on lockout and have a salary cap. The Kevin Garnett deal is what forced the NBA into the salary cap era. So you went ahead and got all your money, Kevin Garnett. You might not talk to me for 2 weeks, but the bottom line is you have Ray Allen on your team for decades. Excuse me, a decade to win a championship, rather than having your homeboy for 9 months and then being back at square one. So that's another one of these things, right? LeBron said, bring Kyrie to camp and we'll talk it out. You know, no. And you ended up getting Isaiah Thomas and a bunch of others and it being over. Okay? This is where you need a little bit of Belichick. You need a little bit of Bill Parcells. No. I know it means a lot to you, but we see a vision for championships in perpetuity. You happy on this day, one season, and then nothing. They got back together. Marbury came on his Celtics team in 2009. It was a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, Kevin Garnett had the Achilles injuries. Could have been 3 straight for Boston. You know, 2 finals in 3 years surely ain't bad. Game 7 against the Lakers. But really, it was supposed to be 3, back to back to back. They were supposed to break through to play the Lakers again in the finals when they had Bynum healthy, and folks to see how that was gonna turn out. We didn't get a chance to see it. What does this have to do with Oklahoma City right now? What does that have to do with the Celtics? What does that have to do with the NBA? This is where the league is at. Okay, if folks, right, they want, you can't, you got one max guy, maybe 2. Everybody else needs to get on that Patty Mahomes page and take less to keep the band together. I said what I said. Don't care what the player union has to say. I said what I said. Okay, or structure your deals. You got to work around this second apron and get creative so that you can stay together. Rather than, I got to get mines. I got a family. I got people that depend on me. So I'm going to the highest bidder. Okay, so take your behind to New Orleans. Enjoy the gumbo, okay? Lottery on 3. Okay, take your behind to Washington. All right, go to the highest bidder, be in the dysfunction, put your buckets up, your empty calorie points, and just leave me alone. And I don't want to hear any crying about it. You're not making an all-star game because those go to teams that win and players on winning teams. Excuse me. So you're not making that all-star game. No. As mad as Devin Booker wanted to get this year and in his feeling, your teammate won nothing. Cancun on 3. Rightfully so. The coaches vote and the teams that are winning. Who is contributing to winning? You're averaging 34 points. Your team's won 4 games. Okay? Morocco won 5. No, you're not an all-star. Okay? So, Sam Presti right now, he's got a magical moment. But let's remember, Joe Dumars had a magical moment too. Before he drafted Darko. Right? The Detroit Pistons, right? 21 years ago, had their magical moment. Had the team, had the coach, had the high draft pick. They never got back to the top of that mountain. Spurs stole one in 2005. Heat got them out of there in 2006. A young LeBron got them out of there in 2007. And by 2008, Boston had got their movement closed. Window slammed shut. Dumars got frustrated, traded away Chauncey, to Denver. So he could take Denver to a Western Conference Finals, and Detroit has never recovered. They ain't never recovered. Now JB Bickerstaff done brought some prosperity. Cade, I saw Jalen Durant, pride of Philly. What a Grady Filler area. Jalen Durant played for team final on the EYBL circuit. Okay, teams, you got to, folks, and again, back to Oklahoma City, what I'm trying to say is Chet he doesn't have a deal. They can structure Chet's deal in this particular fashion. Okay, like Jalen Williams, I'll see where, he's at, but they're, Kassan Wallace, same thing, right? These guys can have the choice. Now, if a team is going to play, and you want, then go. But the core of SGA, Chet, Jalen Williams, we put Kassan Wallace in this conversation. They gave iHeart some money, right? Okay, you gotta, you gotta work. And that's another thing I think about. That's just my view. O.K.C, they got an embarrassment of riches. It's gonna be difficult for them to keep those riches. This whole second apron thing. Could you have a team with Steph, with Clay, with Draymond, with Iggy, with Harrison Barnes, with KD? No, Steph, Clay, Draymond, Iggy, KD, and then some other guys. I'm no fan of the second apron. I didn't have a problem with it the way it was before. Go into the luxury tax, pay that extra money, get it back. This whole second apron stuff. I don't know, but that's how you have to do it. Whether it be I don't know. I do know. Meaning you take less money for shorter years. LeBron was known for this. Signing 2-year deals. 1 or 2-year deals. So continue to come back on the market. Which player, if I get injured, I don't know, but it's just it's a tightrope. But it's necessary tightrope if you want to win championships. If you want to be the guy, Lauri Markkanen is the guy. He made an all-star game, and he was balling. He's balling. I don't know too many people whose radar he's on, playing for an organization, Utah, with Danny Ainge. Your business, but what the heck is going on there? Okay, right? Zach LaVine or whoever. Yeah, Zach LaVine. I guess he's with the Sacktown. Great, a lot of money, and you're in a distant outpost. Teamwork make the dream work, folks. Embarrassment of riches for Oklahoma City, but it's about i.e. It's about i.e. the Kansas City Chiefs. It's about keeping it together. All right, about keeping it together. Okay. Coronation is on. Good. Let's take a look, folks. We got to go, and let's take a look and see where we're at. Let's take a look at our standings, see where we're at, do a little bit of slice of life, and bump on out of here. Okay. All right. So we're not going to stay in the East. We got to go to the West. How does the Kevin Durant trade impact, right, our Western Conference? So, right, you got O.K.C. 1, Houston 2. I don't see much difference there. The difference is, Houston's not going to allow themselves to get boat raced by, a number 7 seed with Kevin Durant on the roster. But that's the difference. So, Houston, right, with Kevin Durant, right, they sweep or gentlemen sweep. They're going to be able to go toe to toe In Houston, with MA in those games against Golden State, never mind Jalen Green had to be benched for whatever reason, but I did not like some of the sets that they ran with Sengun. Rather than getting the ball to, putting guys in screen roll actions to get space, and off the bounce. Too much they just went to Sengun and he was just chips. He was, like Sengun. He's no, like, he can score in the post, but that shouldn't have been their first option. And a couple times in like must get bucket situations, they were just giving the ball to Sengun free throw line extended, and he was taking like 7-foot floaters in possessions when you have to get a bucket. This is a big man taking 7-foot floater. At least try to make somebody foul you. So some of those things are MA related. It wasn't just, they were, no, you weren't scheming up the right things. Jalen Green, who, by the way, his shot is so pure, it's like water. Don't touch no rim. But use, Jabari Smith off the bounce. Post up Jabari Smith. Use Jabari Smith in the high post. Use some high-low with Jabari Smith and put Sengun on the doggone baseline. Okay, that's where, MA, you gotta, now that you have an embarrassment of offensive firepower, because I just named off the young Lions. Reed Sheppard is an NBA player. That's not saying much. He is a star-level player in the NBA. Okay? Amen Thompson, who's focuses on defense, showed you he could score. Jabari Smith is a bucket, and Sengun can score. Now, again, Reed Sheppard is your point guard. I know they got Van Fleet, but eventually it's going to have to pass the baton to initiate your offense. But you can initiate offense with a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of two-man action that you can do with those pieces, is what I'm saying. And I don't want to see so much of just giving the ball to Sengun and letting him do his Kevin McHale thing. You can do that within your offense. Okay, but the driving force of the offense, okay, needs to be, off the bounce, Reed, Van Fleet, somebody in a screen roll, creating something, going to the basket. Or Kevin Durant, who's obviously lights out from the high post, elbow line extended, making teams pick. Kevin Durant high post or Sengun on the block. Like, meaning point blank. Meaning Kevin Durant gets it, the defense comes out, Sengun just buries somebody's under the basket, give it to him, just score. So O.K.C is going to be better next year, and Houston's going to be better next year. These two are the class of the West. Lakers, we'll see. We'll see what JJ, young coach can do in a full year scenario. I don't have them being a 3 seed again. Denver, again, we'll see. Keep the core together. They're not getting any younger, but we've kind of seen this iteration. Fine. Clippers, well-run organization, middling, going nowhere fast, but a contender. Excuse me, a playoff level team, not a contender, playoff level team. Minnesota, KD didn't want to go there. They keep blinking in crunch time. Getting outmaneuvered in series where they should be more competitive. They should have taken O.K.C to 7. They didn't. So we'll see if they're going to go forward or backwards. Golden State's done. Memphis is done. Just going in a different direction. Lucky to make the play-in. Sacramento was done. Dallas, done. Okay, Phoenix, who knows what the heck they're doing. Portland, are you going to bring in a new coach, or just going to be chancing the same old thing? Lowry on 3. San Antonio is resurgent. Even without Kevin Durant, they're still on the come-up. Fox, Castle, and Wemby, right? They got their nucleus, their core, and number 2 overall pick, Dylan Harper, whoever the case may be. Pelicans, dumpster fire. Jazz, dumpster fire. All right, East, Cleveland, run it back. Okay, kind of a Seattle Supersonic situation where you laid a dud. Boston, you already know what you need to do. All right, you fight around, you're going to find out. Knicks, You FUD around, you're going to find out. Can you still pry Jason Kidd to keep the thing moving forward? Or you bring in Taylor Jenks and take a step forward? Pacers back in the mix. Bucks, Giannis wanting to stay there, not going to have the help. Pistons, can they get Devin Booker? Can they get that other marquee player to partner with Cade and Jalen Durant to come up the ladder? Magic are climbing the ladder with Bane loaded. Heat, good team. Lost out in the Durant sweepstakes. Just going to be a gritty play-in team. Hawks, can you continue to move forward with Quinn Snyder and a lot of talent? Jalen Johnson coming back, who was balling for them. So I think the Hawks can take a step forward. Bulls, playing on 3. Donovan's a good coach. He just has the same roster that's been doing the same things. They continue to do the same things. Raptors, you got to streamline your roster. You have 18 small forwards. Get rid of some of these guys. Does Brandon Ingram need to go? Does Grady Dick need to go? Probably not Grady. Probably more so Brandon. What are you doing, Butcher? Obviously, Scotty Barnes is your player of the future. But they're just a bunch of, 6'8", guys with 7-foot wingspans just sprinting at you. It didn't really prove successful this year. Brooklyn, continue to develop and draft well. Sixers, you're bringing it back, okay? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We know what that amounts to. Embiid's not going to be healthy. Paul George is not going to be healthy. So it's going to be, they might, but it's going to be Maxey against the world. Hornets, what are you doing with LaMelo? You have talent. You have a decent coach. You got to start getting ready to move off these young players that are talented, but, they don't embody winning. Wizards dumpster fire. As we check on the socials. All right, celebration is on. O.K.C, happy for them. I picked Indy. They fought valiantly. But you can only do but so much, folks. All right, let's get into our slice of life. It's a beautiful thing. Back-to-back SandCity Sports in the building. Let me just go ahead and double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. Talked a little bit of John Jones. Make sure. No yawning on SandCity Sports. We've crossed the T's. We've dotted the I's. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our slice of life. Hope everybody out there is doing well. It's summertime and the sun is shining. Things are good. Let's go here, learn a thing or two, because I'm already sharing my screen. So let's continue to share the screen. And LeBron James, go ahead.
Reebok. And Paul Fireman was very smart. He said to you, I know you're going to go see Nike and Adidas, but I'm going to offer you $10 million today if you don't go see them and shake my hand.
Right.
He wrote you a $10 million check in that room, and you turned it down.
I had no idea what he was doing at the other end of the table. I just seen him writing.
Yeah.
He was talking, had his head down. He was making sure he didn't get anything wrong on that check. When he slid it down there and he said, listen, if you take this right now, just promise me you won't go talk to Nike or Adidas. I was lost for words at the beginning. I mean, shit, we flew in. I flew in from Akron, Ohio, from Spring Hill, from the projects. I mean, our rent is like $17 a month. And now I'm looking at a $10 million check. For some odd reason, I started thinking, if this guy, if he's willing to give me a $10 million check right now, what is it to say that Nike or Adidas is not willing to give me 20 or 30 up front? Or to say that maybe the upfront money is not even the biggest thing. Maybe let's start thinking about the back end.
We were sitting at Reebok, and Paul Fireman was very smart. He said to you, I know you're going to go see Nike and Adidas, but I'm going to offer you $10 million today if you don't go see them and shake my hand.
Right.
He wrote you a $10 million check in that room, and you turned it down.
I had no idea what he was doing at the other end of the table. I just seen him writing.
Yeah.
He was talking, had his head down. He was making sure he didn't get anything wrong on that check. When he slid it down there and he said, listen, if you take this right now, just promise me you won't go talk to Nike or Adidas. I was lost for words at the beginning. I mean, shit, we flew in. I flew in from Akron, Ohio, from Spring Hill, like from the projects. I mean, our rent is like $17 a month. And now I'm looking at a $10 million check. For some odd reason, I started thinking, if this guy, if he's willing to give me a $10 million check right now, what is it to say that Nike or Adidas is not willing to give me 20 or 30 up front? Or to say that maybe the upfront money is not even the biggest thing. Maybe let's start thinking about the back end.
We were sitting.
Yes, indeed. So, hey, know your worth. Know your value, right? LeBron, whatever you want to say about him, has always had that sense. Let's keep it moving. I want to just delay here. I had the next, okay. Had the next lined up.
You reach a point where you closer to where you're trying to get than where you started from. So you got to keep going. And that's the point. If you stay down, you'll reach that point. You'll look up and be like, it's closer to get to where I'm trying to get than to stop and turn around. So, just stay at it. That's it. You reach a point where you closer to where you're trying to get than where you started from. So you got to keep going. And that's the point. If you stay down, you'll reach that point. You'll look up and be like, it's closer to get to where I'm trying to get than to stop and turn around. So, just stay at it. That's it. You reach it.
Stay at it. Well said. Late Nipsey Hussle, big impact lyrically in the community. That's so true. Especially you get older, you see that. Just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. If it's something that's important and positive, just keep grinding. If it's a relationship, stuff like, you do your best, leave it on good terms, keep grinding.
I want to be rich and famous. Like, take rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Famous is not gonna make you happy.
Yeah.
It seems like it will, because it's like, oh, people like me and know my name and kind of know who I am, and I'll feel like I've done something. I think a lot of times what happens is if it doesn't come with a real sense of like achievement or accomplishment, it actually feels hollow and empty and like bullshit and undeserved.
Do you think you wanted to start directing because it gave you even more of a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Is that a weird question? But does that make any sense?
No, it does make sense. I wanted to fail on my own terms. So I had gone through some movies where I was like, I don't like this. I don't agree with this, but you got to do how it's like playing a football team, whatever. You got to run the plays that the coach sets up. You know what I mean? So I'd rather fail on my own terms or succeed on my own terms. And that's where I kind of got into directing. And I wanted to do it even when I was younger. And I just didn't have the confidence. And at a certain point, I kind of had nothing to lose. Empty and like bullshit and undeserved.
Do you think you wanted to start directing because it gave you even more of a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Is that a weird question? But does that make any sense?
No, it does make sense. I wanted to fail on my own terms. So I had gone through some movies where I was like, I don't like this. I don't agree with this, but you got to do how it's like playing a football team, whatever. You got to run the plays that the coach sets up. You know what I mean? So I'd rather fail on my own terms or succeed on my own terms. And that's where I kind of got into directing. And I wanted to do it even when I was younger. And I just didn't have the confidence. And at a certain point, I kind of had nothing to lose. Like, people go, man, I want to be rich and famous. Like, take rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Famous is not gonna make you happy.
Yeah.
It seems like it will, because it's like, oh, people like me and know my name and kind of know who I am, and I'll feel like I've done something. I think a lot of times what happens is if it doesn't come with a real sense of like achievement or accomplishment, it actually feels hollow and empty and like bullshit and undeserved.
Do you think you wanted to?
Solid points, Ben. Again, anytime, Ben Affleck, sharing his experience, I just go back to the fact that he and Matt Damon wrote Good Will Hunting. That's how he got his break, by creating his break, or opportunity, to blast off and blast through. The point that he made is well taken about They talk about this, the 1%, if you will, millionaire, billionaire class, and just how they actually live their life. There's a notable. There is a clear line of demarcation within the 1%. The haves. Between those who earned versus inherited. That wealth. And the earned, generally speaking, have a better worldview and outlook, than those who inherited. Because of, to Ben Affleck's point, they built this up. They had skin in the game, so to speak, versus it being handed down. Which, of course, nothing wrong with that. But then you have to kind of not just receive the riches and the opportunities, but you feel compelled or obligated to contribute to said riches and goodwill. We're going to conclude. I made it clear, it's been big weekend officiating, but, the live period was over the weekend. Generally ref this, missed it this year. I'll be back going forward. But this is one of the young lions for BABC. Yep. State was in the building. Hey, nothing like being in those environments, folks, and then to be able to shine, that's what it comes down to. You got to be ready when your number is called. So a little frustrated that I was not able to be there, but great weekend. Be there going forward. I had a great time and officiating and doing, good cause. So, hey, no harm, no foul, but we're going to leave it off. We're going to leave it off with the journey. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, but we come to the conclusion. I am your host, Cape Cod. That's me. Kid, thank you so much for tuning in to SandCity Sports. Oklahoma City Thunder capture that NBA